Support for WCBU Reports comes from State Farm agent Aaron Kilgore, a Peoria native offering insurance and financial services. More at aaronismyagent.com.
This is Morning Edition from NPR. I'm Tim Shelley with WCBU Reports. Insects play a crucial role in ecosystems all around the world, and scientists say we still have much more to discover. That includes how the tiny creatures talk to each other. And as Harvest Public Media's Hector Alejandro Arzate reports, one Midwestern professor's research has been foundational to that study.
When you think of bug sounds, you probably hear buzzing and chirping, but there are thousands of insects that humans can't hear. Rex Cockcroft has made a career out of capturing their performances, and I got to hear them play live.
You're lucky because usually there's an observer effect, and if I try to show somebody what they're doing, they'll be completely quiet.
That melody is coming from a species called treehoppers. Well, sort of. Those are actually vibrations, which Cockcroft says are so tiny that you could touch a leaf with your finger and not feel anything. But by borrowing from his fellow musicians, he is a pianist after all, Cockcroft can capture what they're saying using music equipment. He clips a tiny microphone onto a plant stem. The treehopper's little vibrations are then amplified through a small speaker.
That's it. You can see it. It's very simple. And now we're listening to these insects talking to each other.
Cockcroft is a researcher at the University of Missouri in Columbia, and for the past 30 years, his work has helped scientists better understand how these insects communicate. And with more than 3,000 species of treehoppers across 6 continents, there's a lot being said.
Most of the sounds out there have never been heard by humans, and you can literally go into a backyard in Missouri and hear a sound that no one has ever heard before. And it might be something rather strange and interesting that no one has ever heard before.
It's called insect vibrational communication. In treehoppers, they vibrate different parts of their bodies, which are transmitted onto plant stems. Those are shared with other treehoppers who tell one another where to find the best food and to warn about predators. Cockcroft has been a pioneer in this research. Now, other scientists are finding practical applications, like at Oregon State University, where researchers are using robots to mimic insect sounds to protect vineyards from pests. At St. Louis University, Casey Fowler-Finn and her colleagues are trying to understand how climate change could impact insect populations.
And we look at how it affects the rates of mating, how it affects how they sound, and whether they can still detect each other, even though temperature makes animals sound different.
Fowler-Finn, who considers Cockcroft a mentor, says they're using the chirping rates of crickets as a sort of thermometer because vibrations are faster at hotter temperatures. Rafa Rodriguez also studied with Cockcroft. The University of Wisconsin at Milwaukee professor says his research was inspired in part by the first time he heard treehoppers.
That just blew my mind. It was like the first time you go snorkeling underwater, and then this whole new universe, this whole new dimensions of color and corals kind of open up. It was like that, but in sound.
Now he studies insect communication and the memories and predatory behavior of spiders. Cockcroft's work has also inspired researchers far beyond the Midwest. That includes Sam England, a postdoctoral scientist at the Natural History Museum in Berlin, Germany. He's actually in Australia right now doing fieldwork.
If you hear any animal sounds in the background, that is why.
Like others, England says he's learned a lot from Cockcroft, from his research contributions to even sharing specimens. So when England and his team discovered a new species of treehopper in Costa Rica, they named it Cladonota rex in his honor. Cockcroft is humble about the recognition, and he points out, so far researchers have found just the one single Cladonota rex.
So I don't know if there's any chance for me to go out and see one, but it's a beautiful insect, and it was an honor to have it named after me.
Ultimately, he hopes more people will take interest in insects and figuring out just how and what they're communicating. I'm Hector Alejandro Arzate, Harvest Public Media.
Harvest Public Media is a collaboration of public media newsrooms in the Midwest and Great Plains, including WCBU.